All right, Andrew Masters here. Time to show you my epic home studio. Come on in. So first things first, we're in a room above my garage. So this is a much smaller room than some of the other epic studios you've seen, but you know, we've got a dedicated entry here and you know, a space that is technically separate from the rest of my house. Now, this is Nashville. So the thing with Nashville home studios is you have to have an A-frame room where the ceilings do this sort of thing. So I joined the club officially, and yeah, this is it. It's a lot cooler than my previous home studios. Hopefully things continue to get cooler and cooler. The idea of this space when we moved into this house was I need a room to do everything. I'm a musician who plays a bunch of stuff. I'm an audio engineer. I needed a room that I can trust for listening and mixing purposes, and then again to do video work. So I really needed it to do everything. There's always gonna be compromises regardless of the space that you're in. Literally when we came in here for the first time, before I moved anything in or treated anything, if you clapped your hands, the whole room just had a big like 10-second reverb decay of like, there's a stairwell down to the garage. It was complicated. So I decided what we would do is do a mixture of bringing in some area rugs, and we were gonna use an acoustic treatment system called fabric wall. Now, the whole idea with fabric wall is you use the actual walls in your space as treatment, as absorption, or as acoustic panels, essentially. Instead of hanging up little DIY 2x4 panels, the entire wall becomes the panel. So both this wall and that wall and then the front wall are all fabric wall, which means there's this track that runs all the way down. Inside of the track, right here, is insulation. There's 2 inches, so this is handling most of the high frequency and mid-range frequencies. And it really helped control the noise of this space inside of the room. I wanted all of these colors to really blend in and not feel like there's, you know, a hodgepodge of mismatched acoustic treatment in the space. And then lastly, of course, we added the cloud above my listening station, and this does a lot of the work for what I'm hearing. That way there is no direct reflections from the sides, the back, or above me. The sound just comes out of the speakers, hits my ears, and it's fantastic. So as far as like the usable space in here, this little square, if you partition off where this wall, if you go that way, all of this is 19 feet by 19 feet from the floor. Now, however, if you walk around a little bit in here, you'll notice, if you're not paying attention, there's a limit to how far you can go. So the rest of the room off to the sides has been very effectively used as storage. By the way, this room changes every day, literally every day. I'm constantly changing stuff, but this has turned into like the drum corner. And I'm a drummer and audio engineer who got into engineering because I love drumming and recording drums. And after working in commercial studios with, you know, fantastic drummers like Aaron Sterling, Matt Chamberlain, Vinny Caliuta, a lot of the bigger session guys, Chris Dave, you know, they have cartage companies where they bring in literally probably double the amount of snares and a few kits on each session so that you can just grab what you need. There's no fussing around once the producer and the artist and everyone's in the room. Instead of tuning and messing around with that, you just grab the right one for the right job. So we've got a lot of snares here, a couple different drum kits. I'll just point out a couple. This is the Ludwig New Sonic. That's like a 20-inch kick drum, I believe. And then 12-14 toms. And then this one here is a really beautiful custom WFL3 kit that's more standard, what I call studio kit, 22, 16, 13. And yes, I did make a drum sample pack and call it the studio kit, and that's this kit. Over here, since there's no closet in this room, I've had to become incredibly creative with storage. So You know, this is essentially a junk drawer, junk drawer of everything that you're gonna be reaching for: zip ties, rack screws, tools, little screwdrivers for fixing gear, batteries, Allen wrenches, all the rest. I'm in here all the time. And then the other drawers in this tool case, if you go through them, are microphones. So this is all microphone collection here. This is like dynamic and ribbon, things that don't need power supplies into this drawer. This drawer has condensers, large diaphragm. We've got the WA-14s, got some Lawton Audio 220s, Mojave MA300. These are the Lewitts, little Rode pod mic. I've also got a pair of 414s that I put away. Here's, don't judge me. This is just when you're in a rush. Sorry, Trent, don't look, Trent. This is a beautiful Lawton Eden mic, and it is just kind of sitting here. Some more MC12Xs. This is the Mojave Audio MA1000. So these are tube mics, large diaphragm. There's also a sub kick in there. And then in this drawer, this is actually one of my favorites. These are all adapters for the stand system, which I use throughout this whole studio for microphones, lights. You can even put like cameras and stuff on them. Yeah, you'll see that as we go through. There's all sorts of adapters for it and additions, and it's a cool little thing. Here, again, you gotta get creative. Cables, headphones. I don't recommend this, by the way, putting very expensive amp heads on a wall next to a staircase, but alas, amp storage. So yeah, the rest of this room is really broken down into what I call zones. And if you followed this YouTube channel before, then you've probably seen me mention it at least 200 times, but this is a home studio with the purpose of being able to do several things all at once with as little to no setup time necessary. It's very tricky to take a 19 by 19 room above a garage, which gets very hot in the summer, and also be very obsessed with outboard gear and tracking and stuff like that. But to have everything set up all the time, and then also have like video lighting and things like that, have it look really nice on camera without setup. But I've gotten pretty good at it, I think. So this zone right here is very much electric guitar zone. We've got some amps, we've got the aux box, and I kind of have some go-tos that I use. This is the Deluxe Reverb, and I've got a M201, which is one of my favorite guitar amp mics. The other favorite mic I will use on guitar amp is this Royer 121, and these both just are placed ready to go using these little clips from Triad Orbit. They're clamp stands that literally just clamp to the side of the cab in this example, and then to that little shelf down there. That way I get my floor space around it and I can't kick them and knock them over. Also, I can actually move the shelf and get behind the amps without adjusting the mic placement, which is just a time saver when you're hustling and bustling and trying to do a bunch of things at once. So we got the Deluxe Reverb, Princeton Reverb, Vox AC30, Supro, Blackmagic. This is a Rev G20. It's kind of a high gain 5150 kind of deal. It's got a 2 notes load box in it, so you can come XLR out. Bass amp, Ashdown, Evo 4300, Ashdown cab down there with the FET condenser on it. And all of this stuff, lines are always ran. So it's just a matter of deciding we're gonna use that amp, and then plug the guitar or bass into the pedal board. There's also a spot here for a pedal board to be plugged in, power cable out of the way. That's the guitar zone, and pretty much everything stays exactly like that. It's ready to be used. Right next to the guitar zone is the drum zone, just the two loudest things right next to each other. As you can see, I have a full set of mics on the kit up here. I also have this secret set of rooms mounted to the wall. Now this is the other Triad Orbit thing, but these are stereo ribbon mics, and sometimes I'll swap these out for large diaphragm condensers. for stereo rooms. And then at the bottom of the staircase in the garage, you can't see it right now, but in the garage, I have a mounted mic down there, which is just a 57. But I'll leave the stairwell open when I record drums so you can get all the close mics, you get the stereo room mics of all of this sort of indirect transients, and then you'll get the garage, and it really sounds huge. It's kind of crazy how versatile this room sounds with that mic setup. So doing the remote drum sessions in here has been a privilege because everything just sounds so good. By the way, just logistical stuff here. This is little circle rugs that I got from Ruggable.com, not sponsored, but you can actually pull these up. They separate from the mats and you can wash them. So if you are a disgusting musician and you want some rugs that you can clean, these are great options. This is my friend Frank's drum kit. It's a Ludwig, 60s Ludwig, 68, 22, 13, 16. And then we've got a 50s Ludwig snare on there. I don't know the model of it, but it's pretty awesome. Just like with the amp world, all of the drums have microphones on them all of the time. So I literally can just come over here, sit down in the chair, try to keep a path to each of the zones so that it's very easy to sit down and use it. I've got my in-ears right here. There's a secondary rig so that I can get on here and control Pro Tools or Logic or whatever we're using. My headphone box is right here. Got a handful of different sticks ready to use. And then I just plug in my in-ears and I can hear the drums live through the microphones. That makes it incredibly easy to just come up with an idea on the spot, levels, everything's ready to go, and then just literally hit record and go. And then when I'm done, unplug the headphones, get up, and I can come back over here, which is another sort of zone, if you will, the mixing sort of land. This is a lot. There's a lot going on here. We've got keyboards, Sub 37, Juno X. These are both currently routed to this radial Key Largo, which is like a little line level mixer. And then this Drum Brute Impact from Arturia, cool little drum machine, is also routed to the Key Largo mixer. So basically I can sum line outputs from the different synths and keyboards and drum machine down to 2 channels. And then those 2 channels hit a reamp box with these pedals inserted. So I can grab some different pedals and be able to insert them easily and use them in the chain. Mostly I'm just popping on this Astra chorus because that thing gets real gnarly. There's also a little reverb there, which is fun to use. Now this is where I'm sitting and kind of need to be able to do a lot. I love having keyboards nearby. I hate keyboard drawers. I know a lot of people use them, but I have these things called knees, and every time I sit at one of those desks, I crack my knees. So I have this beautiful custom, it's called a custom console split bay desk from Danger Fox, which basically means you've got a rack on the left and a rack on the right, and then a custom middle section. Now, there's a big console in here, so that's what this middle section was spec'd out for. This is a Trident 68, 24 channels, mic pre's, EQs, and faders, as you can see, are underneath this SSL. Hit the like button if you think this is the stupidest, most absurd way to use this, but it is also the most practical way for me to use it. Because of the way I route everything in here, I am a tracking engineer and sort of producer at heart. So I want everything to hit microphones and outboard pre's and get all of that color on the way into the computer. But I'm also not an old head when it comes to production. Like I mix in the box. So I like to have my automation on my solid state Logic faders. And then I also use a hardware insert. So even though I'm mixing in the box, my master fader still has hardware inserted on it. And that is this guy, which is freaking awesome. So this is the SSL Bus Plus, fantastic stereo compressor that basically is you know, decades of research and development all put into one new unit. Really, really powerful tool for mixing, and that just lives on the master bus. Some of the outboard gear here, we've got compressors and EQs all around. I love outboard mic pre's, so I'm using a combination of onboard console mic pre's and then everything over here. This is pretty much where drums are going. We've got AEA RPQ 2s, RPQ 3 mic pre's. We've got Warm Audio 273s, Rupert Neve. These are APIs, the 3124s, 8 channels of those. And then up top, we've got some 500 rack stuff. These are the new Undertone Audio EQ 500s. Super powerful 500 EQs. And then of course, we've got more EQ compression over here. Audioscape makes this killer. It's like a DBX 160 stereo unit copy. It's the 260 VU. I think that's what it's called. I think it's under there. Yeah, 260 VU. Patch bay, interface, Apogee Symphony I/O here. It's a 32 by 32. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty boring. It's just a A to D, D to A converter. There's no mic pre's or anything. It was actually gifted to me, which is kind of why I haven't made a specific video on it. It's just the most insane, ridiculous gift to give to somebody. But I'm using it, it sounds really good. There are 3 rows of racks down there, and those are called the Xylo racks. So these are 13 rack space units, I believe. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, yeah, 13 rack spaces in each rack. And what's cool about this, obviously it's an incredibly sturdy, one of the strongest racks I've ever experienced for the amount of weight in here, but it's modular. So I started off with 2, I think, but you can connect them and add on as many units as you want. And when you add them on, you just take the faceplate at the end and move it to the new end of it. So this could literally be connected as many spaces as you want. The whole thing's on casters, so I can pull it out, get back there quite easily, and then behind the racks is also super accessible, and you can actually reach all of the gear very easily. Oh, fun fact about the studio, the whole thing runs on a MacBook Pro. So literally over in that corner there, that is like the data side, all the hard drives. My MacBook Pro just sits on a printer. We've got hubs on hubs on hubs. Lots of hard drives for the videos. There's probably 80, 90 terabytes, which is just absurd. A little bit about the work that I'm doing in here. You know, I'm a musician, so basically this is my playland. Audio engineer. I love tracking, as I said before. And then I run this YouTube channel where we do a lot of production videos, studio tours. Well, this channel in particular, Andrew Masters, is all epic studio tours now. There's a lot of other videos on the channel, but I just launched a new channel called Studio Time, which I'll link down in the description, where I'm doing a lot more practical recording and production tips, tutorials, educational content, as well as gear content. So that stuff is no longer going to live on this channel, if you didn't know that. That will be on the new channel, Studio Time, so you can get your fix of epic studio tours here, and all the gear, nerdy stuff will be over there. Over on this side is another really cool sort of luxury to have, is a bunch of guitars and basses and pedals. Also where I store a lot of the power supplies and additional microphones that are not in those drawers. But yeah, it's kind of the staples. I wanted to have a room where people could show up theoretically and not have to bring a truckload of stuff with them. And if they didn't, they'd be pretty good. So just a quick walkthrough. We've got a Fender Jazz bass, Fender American P bass, an American Vintage Telly. Love this thing, Fender. Gibson Les Paul Standard, one of the coolest rock and roll guitars. Also is so heavy, It just lets me know how weak of a human I am every time I play it standing up. A guitar that was built to be played through a Vox AC30. Those two sound so good together. This is a really cool guitar that is kind of a mystery to me. It's a Guild. This was my wife's mother's guitar. She actually got it from a local guitar store in Nashville in like 2000. And don't really know much about it. It's electric, you can plug it in. I have no idea where the pickups are. There's volume and tone here, and that's kind of the whole story on it. It sounds really, really cool though. Doesn't sound like an acoustic. It sounds like an electric. So if you have any info on that, let me know in the comments. This guy we just picked up because we've been doing a lot of country production lately. So we got a resonator. This is a Dobro by, I believe, Epiphone. I could be wrong. I don't remember. This was like $600 or $700, and it sounds awesome. It does need a little bit of bridge love, so we'll have to get that set up soon. Over here, this is my absolute #1 staple for acoustics, the Martin D18. Big dreadnought, beautiful, perfect for recording. And then this is a Gibson G200. It's a cool, strange acoustic that records really well. It's one of those guitars that has that little sound hole at the top. And this is actually set up currently in Nashville tuning. So it's the double guitar. So when we go to double stuff, it just, the combination of those two sound super awesome. Over here, just a big giant library of guitar pedals. I guess giant for me, maybe not for you. This is like overdrive, distortion, boost kind of world. We've got fuzz down here. This is a really awesome, barely ever used whammy to get that low octave effect. Up here we've got modulation, delay, compression, cloud lifts, DIs. This one's cool. This is a Roxy preamp pedal from Grace Audio or Grace Design. It's actually a beautiful sounding preamp and EQ built in like a pedal format. It's got an effects send and return, an amp out, tuner out, phantom power, DI out. It's a really weird product, but as far as preamps go, it's super clean and it sounds really beautiful when you're going for a really clean sound. On the back here, this is just kind of always extra mics, a lot of SM7s apparently. We got the Soyuz 17 FET back there. That's a really good go-to acoustic and just sort of all around large diaphragm condenser. We've got the Soyuz 13 tubes up here, mono ribbon, biodynamic M160 snare top. I haven't done a video on this because I can't do videos on everything, but this thing rocks. This is literally a mic from Loudon Audio called Snare Mic, and it's a large diaphragm condenser that can take super high SPL. Sounds great. Underneath we've got the Sennheiser 441, kick out, Loudon Clarion FET. This is an unbelievable FET condenser that just sounds fantastic on a ton of different sources. It is my favorite kick out mic, which is why it's on the kick out. Currently using these biodynamic M201s on toms. They sound great on toms, just like they sound great on literally everything you put them on. They're on my toms now because they're small and they're lightweight. The whole idea of this room is to be able to accomplish the task at hand and have as little friction as possible. If you say, hey, I want to record some acoustic guitar, you know, where's the stands? Where, you know, how are we going to do it? I always go in my brain, like, what kind of acoustic are we wanting? What's the vibe? Is it kind of an old, like, mono ribbon thing? If so, maybe we'll use this AEA 44 ribbon microphone, and then I can just kind of move that into place and they can sit over here. This is also where the vocalist can either sit or stand. There's a music stand here, and if they're gonna stand up, it's just as simple as raising this up for them, and then have that ribbon mic here for acoustic if we do it like that. If not, if it's a bigger acoustic, more modern sound, then what I like to do is just place the musician here. And this is kind of a little cheat code. It's like just sort of a extra accessory mic stand with stereo mics on it. I have fallen in love with stereo miking stuff this year. And these are the Soyuz 1973 condensers. And using this on acoustic, just having someone sit here and having these kind of ready to go in stereo. They have dedicated lines that they run to. So I already know acoustic shows up on channels 23 and 24. I just bring this over, they sit down, we lower it into place and we can record. And then when we're done, I just kind of tuck it back here out of the way and just kick the cables under there. As you can see, I don't know about you, but I hate when there's cables everywhere, but I also want to use everything at any given moment. So the floor is as clean and clear and functional as I can, limiting the risk of stuff getting kicked over or broken. Also, if you have any questions about these stands, these are from Triad Orbit. These are just basically little systems that we designed and built out to be able to do as much as possible in as little compact space as we can. Even this this decatry thing up here is like just one little piece where you can add in two booms and a third clip, and it's all on one stand. All of the clips have the exact same universal clip, as well as these lights up here. So that way I can quickly change what I'm going to be using. If I, listen to a microphone on a guitar amp and I say, let's go with something darker, let's put a ribbon mic on there, I can quickly swap that out. This is just a single stand from Triad Orbit, but it's the O2X head, which basically means at the top you get two booms. So I've got a boom here, and then I've got a boom here. And what I'll do is I will put my light on one of these, which is crazy, and then I'll use this second one for my boom mic, for the audio. But this system of stands really makes the actual workflow of this room work really, really well. People ask me, what are those lights? This is like a poor man's solution here. We've got, well, these are nice like video lights. They're called Amaran P60Xs. They're bicolor, so you can go from like cooler lights to warmer lights, and then obviously you can dim and brighten it. But the stands that these are on are actually, they're like from Amazon, and they're designed to be like a content creator desk stand. So it's supposed to clip to your desk and allow you to put like your little ring light camera setup. But because it had the option to mount a video light to it, I was like, well, it'd be cool to have it kind of over the speakers and on the console, but not like in my face. I don't want, it going right in my face. So I clamped it to my speaker stands here on each side. So these are literally just Amazon like desk mic stands with Amaran P60Xs on them. Clamps to my Soundacre speakers, sharing with the Barefoots. Yes, I realize this is a totally ridiculous world up here, but I'm incredibly lucky to be able to do everything that I get to do up here, and it is a gift every day. Oh, I forgot to mention the Strat, Fender American Strat. This thing is also really, really fun. Last year was the year of me learning more about the instruments I love, getting them set up for sessions and productions, and it's been super duper fun. Outside of that, I'll do consultations and stuff people can book on my website, as well as the remote drum sessions. I gotta say, 2 years in, pretty happy with it. Pretty excited with how it's turned out. So yeah, this is the whole space. Everything in here is designed for maximum fun with as little friction as possible. I would love to hear what you guys think. Down in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, there's like, I don't know, 35% of the people who watch these videos who are not subscribed. Just hit the subscribe button and let me know what questions you have. As I said before, big shout out to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video, and check the links in the description. I have literally all of the gear, pretty much all of the gear in this studio is organized and linked down below in the description of this video. So if you have any questions on anything, you want to know prices or what's involved, check the description for that, as well as the link to the new channel Studio Time, and we'll see you in the next video.